I have an emotional attachment to Christine.
So, be a present husband?
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I just got finished watching Gwendolyn Brown's, what is this? It is the season 17 episode 8 recap of their show. And you guys, I'm loving them more and more like that I watch them, because Gwendolyn Brown is dropping so much shade on her dad in the nicest way possible. Like, she says these things. I think at one point she says men are useless.
He said men are useless. We can't help it.
She blames her dad for not being a present husband to her mom. She calls him out on twisting the facts as to who purchases the homes. So many things she's called him out in this recent episode that she filmed. So I wanted to talk about it because I don't know if you guys even picked up on things, because they were so subtle, the shade that she threw at her father, as well as some of the other people at times throughout this episode, but mainly her dad. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into it. So one thing, obviously, with Gwendolyn doing these recaps is people want to know about her dad. You know, the relationship that she has with her dad, because one thing that the kids have stated is that when they were younger, he was a great dad. He was very attentive. He played with them. It would show footage of him, you know, playing with them, being in the bathroom with them, having like an assembly line for them to brush their teeth and everything. And all of the wives have talked about how he was a great dad when their kids were younger. So it has been asked, like, what happened? Why does it seem like when the kids get to a certain age, Kody is just not a good dad anymore? He's not as close to the kids. I mean, he's still super close to like all of Robin's kids and the younger ones. It seems like, though, all the kids except Robin's kids, once they get to a certain age, he's no longer close to them. And Gwendolyn was asked about that, and she said her perspective of this is that once the kids get old enough to have their own beliefs and do their own thing, if it's not in line with his beliefs, then he kind of disassociates himself with them, that he may maintain like a slim relationship with them, but sometimes not really. That she's like, I believe when we're younger, this is what she said, when they were younger, they were easy to manipulate and kind of push into this believing this certain way, Kody's way. But once they got older and they had their own beliefs and they could not be manipulated to live Kody's lifestyle, then all of a sudden, you know, he wasn't cool with him anymore. So she talks about that, not necessarily on this episode, but she has in previous episodes. You know, she says when we were younger, we were easily manipulated, but now that we're older and we live our own lives, and it's not the way that Kody wants us to live, or it's not the way that Kody's life is, I just don't believe he wants to be close with us anymore, which I thought, that's crazy. Can you imagine having a dad that once you grow up and become your own human being, you become an adult, well, now you risk your dad not having a relationship with you no more, being as close as he was to all the kids when they were little and being a great dad, and then just because they become an adult and they live their own way, you don't talk to them anymore. To me, it does seem kind of cultish, like a cult. Like, oh, well, they left our way of living, so we have to, what's it called in like Scientology? I don't remember, but where you have to disassociate yourself, or I don't remember what it is. But either way, that's what it seems like Kody does here with these older kids. Now, a few things else, like I said, she calls him out on not being a present husband to her mom. So in the beginning of the episode, Kody is talking about how Christine boxed up all of his things and put them in her garage, and he's just been so busy and he hasn't really had time to get to the things. And Kody says, I've been so busy with work. And Gwendolyn responds and says, I still don't know what work you do. I still don't know what work you do. And I'm like, that's legit. Like, she knows that it has something to do with guns, but Kody is so like secretive with exactly what it is that he does. At the end of this episode, she even says, like, I know he's something in the gun business. I don't really know, but I think just because of the conflict, like, you know, guns, to talk about guns, to sell guns, you know, the problem that could arise from that, people judging you from that. I just think he doesn't want to talk about it. But Gwendolyn Gwendolyn doesn't even really know the extent of what he does from the way that it seems. Also in this episode, Christine says that going back to boxing all of her stuff up and trying to get it out of the house, and the fact that Kody hasn't really done anything. Gwendolyn says that it's annoying that her mom had to do everything to really get Kody out of the house, that she had to express, get your things, get your things, get your things, to the point where she had to box him up all on her own. Gwendolyn calls her dad annoying for not, going and getting his things and leaving that up to her mom. Now, also in the episode, Kody says that he doesn't have anywhere to put his stuff. And Gwendolyn, who can be really funny at times, she puts up a photo of Robin's house. It just kind of blends into her video. And she says, or you could just throw it all away. She's literally like, I mean, really, surely you got enough stuff to live at Robin's house. Just throw it away. Who cares? Who cares? The shade that she's throwing at her dad to be like, just throw your things away. Who really cares? And when he's like, I don't have anywhere to put them, she's like, Robin's house? She's literally like calling her dad out on his BS right there on the video without even having to say too much. And it's so subtle. Something else, Kody says he has an emotional attachment to the house when they're talking about selling the house. In a confessional, he says, I have an emotional attachment to this house. And he says, I have an emotional attachment to Christine. At that point, that's when Gwen says, well, you should have been a present husband. And I'm like, exactly. Or like she says, period. I mean, how are you going to now, all of a sudden, when Christine is leaving, packing your things up, you're like, oh, I have an emotional connection to the house. I have an emotional connection to my wife. Gwendolyn even sang that song, you only need the light when it's dark. You only need the heart. I don't know. I don't know the lyrics. She didn't really know the lyrics either, but it's something like, but you let it go. Like you only need X, Y, and Z, but you let it go. And that's what she said, but you let it go. Like you want to say you need all these things, but you are the one that let these things go. You were not a present husband. You were not a present dad. She talks about that in this episode as well. When Isabel is leaving to go to North Carolina, they are leaving. Christine is packing up her car, packing up Isabel's car, and Isabel, Gwendolyn, and not Gwendolyn. It's Isabel, Truly, and Christine. They are packing up Isabel's car to head to North Carolina to take Isabel to go live with Maddie so she can attend college in North Carolina. And one of the things that Christine says is, I just feel so bad because my kids did not have a close relationship with their dad. And Gwendolyn says in her video, that was not your fault. She absolutely blames her dad. She calls her dad out for not being there for her mom. She calls her dad out for not being there for them. So many things that I picked up on through this episode. Even at one point at the end, a question that was asked by one of her followers is, since you are 8 episodes in, has your opinion of anyone in the family changed? And she said, yes. My opinion of my dad has gotten worse. And she said, it's just crazy to sit here and watch them behave the way that they do on camera. Almost like if they'll say this on camera, what would they say off camera? Because everybody's going to be on their best behavior when the cameras are around, right? So when the cameras are not there, how would Kody really treat Christine? Or how would Kody really talk about Christine? Or how would Mary and Robin really talk about Christine if she's not there? And Gwendolyn says, she's like, I'm angry over it. I'm angry to see the way they behave, even on camera. Now, something else that is talked about on the episode, we see Janelle bringing up the fact that family money went in to buy Christine's house and family money went in to buy Robin and Kody's house. And Gwendolyn's like, hold up, wait. I remember one episode where my dad said that he and Robin's money went in to buy my mom's house. That's really funny. Or she says, that's so interesting. So she's picking up on the fact that Kody twists things about the house. He twisted it to say that him and Robin, it was their money. She goes, so interesting. It was really the family's money. So it wasn't just his. She's picking up on these things about her dad. And it's obviously the reason why her opinion of her dad is getting worse. Because she's seeing the way that he talks about Christine. She's seeing the way that he twists things when it comes to the finances and who purchased the house. She's seeing all of these things about her dad that I think maybe before, You know, there were some things she probably knew, but not everything. She didn't watch the show before. She said it had been years since she watched the show. So I'm really glad that she's doing this. I'm so glad she's watching the episodes and giving us feedback on it. To hear her say, yeah, my opinion of my dad has changed. To hear her call him out, to throw the shade at him, to say like, oh, throw your things away. Who cares? To say you weren't a present dad. It's not my mom's fault that we don't have a close relationship with you. She's definitely coming to the realization of more, I think, of who her dad is. Now, something else is Janelle is talking about the family and how the families broke up. And Janelle makes a comment saying, I'm not sure we still have a family. And Gwen's like, what? No. And Kody says, we have a family. And Gwen's like, yes, we have a family. And Kody says, Christine's just not a part of it. And Gwendolyn's like, what? No, my mom is very much a part of the family. That was something that it definitely seemed like that bothered her, but she was quick to call it out and say, just because, you know, my mom and my dad are not together does not mean she's not part of the family. And that's true. That's not what it means. She even goes on to explain that her fiance's parents are split up, but it doesn't mean that her dad's not part of the family or her mom's not part of the family. They still do things and everybody kind of comes together. And she's like, that's the way that it's been. And Gwendolyn even says that things have gotten better in their family since the divorce. She's like, a lot of us kids are like rekindling relationships with other siblings, you know, and things are better since this divorce happened. She also talks about Maddie. She's like, Maddie moved away. She doesn't live here. So is Maddie no longer a part of the family? Like, she's still part of the family. I think, obviously, you know, they're looking at things the way that they want to, but Gwendolyn's looking at things like the realization of really what it is, or reality of what it really is. Like, of course her mom would still be a part of the family. She's their mom. So she's not going to be a part of the family. After that, they talk about plural marriage. She watches a clip where Mary and Robin are outside talking, and Mary says, I will never say that the problem is with plural marriage. I'll never say that. And I was actually shocked to hear Gwendolyn say this, because I thought Gwendolyn was like highly against plural marriage. And Gwendolyn was like, I agree. The problem is not with plural marriage. There are people that can make this work, and there's people that it's just not for. And she says, it's definitely not for my mom. Plural marriage was not for my mom. And she does say, although she had me, the best thing ever, so she was meant to do it for a while, but I don't think this is my mom, like where my mom was meant to be in plural marriage. And she says, people that can make it work and can get along, sure, it could be for them, but not for her mom. And I think that's fair to say. At one point, Kody said, you know, Christine wanted to be loved more without giving love. And Gwendolyn says, that's not true. My mom was giving love to everyone. She just wanted to get love in return. Gwendolyn seeing the way her dad is like looking at things, and Gwendolyn knows that it's so not accurate. You know, saying that her mom wanted more love than everybody else without giving love. She's like, my mom gave the most love. And I really feel like if you go back and watch the episodes, she was the one always putting on the parties. She was the one, you know, tending to all the kids. Like, how could anybody say that she wasn't giving love? To me, it's just Kody twisting things, and I think his daughter sees that. And I think anybody that really watches the show, like as far as his kids, they're going to see this. And they're going to come to the realization that Kody will twist things to fit his narrative. And I think that's what we're getting with Gwen here. Now, like I said, later on, she's asked, you know, you're 8 episodes in, has your opinions changed? And she says, yes, my opinion of Robin has improved. I'm kind of shocked there that she says her opinion of her dad has gotten worse. And she says it makes her angry to see how her dad behaves, how people in the family behave on camera. They then ask her, does Kody visit any of the kids that live outside of Flagstaff? And she says, not really. She says the only kids that he visits are those that he has a close relationship with, or those that Robin has a close relationship with, like McKelty. She says she's pretty sure that he went and visited McKelty when McKelty had the twins recently. She goes, I don't think he goes to visit Maddie at all. And Maddie just had a baby very recently, so I would be curious to find out if he went and visited Maddie. But she says, my dad has his favorites. Like, he has a few of the kids that he will go visit, and those that he goes to visit, they are his favorites. And I think that is kind of a shame when a dad has favorites, to the point to where he will travel out of town to see some of the favorites, but not travel out of town to see the other kids that may not be his favorites. Where the kids can tell, like, clearly our dad got favorites, and he'll go see some of them and he won't go see the other ones. Either way, you guys, I am loving these recaps, and to see her, she doesn't get mad. She'll say, yeah, and it makes me angry for X, Y, and Z reason, but she doesn't get mad. She doesn't go on a tangent about her dad, but she just tells the truth. Like, my dad was not a present dad. He was not a present husband. You know, she can say all these things. She can say he was a good dad up until we had our own ideas and our own thoughts, and he couldn't manipulate us into believing his way anymore. And then he stopped being a great dad. She can say these things without even sounding the least bit mad about it, you know? So I'm here for her recaps. I love it. I'm going to keep you guys updated. You guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Were you guys shocked to hear her say that she actually does feel like a polygamy is for some people, but it's not for everyone, and it was not for her mom? And are you shocked to hear her say that her opinions of her dad has gotten worse since watching the episode? I'm actually shocked to hear her, like, come right out and say those things. So you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I would love to have you as a part of the Bash Chat. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave me your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.